Connecticut's newsroom. The combined resources of Fox Connecticut and The Current. Fox Connecticut News at 10 begins right now.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a warning about a school scam affecting several Connecticut towns.
Harwinton officials say the suspects are conning young families out of their money.
Fox Connecticut's Bo Berman caught up with one of the sellers tonight to get some answers. Bo.
Oh, Brent, Allison, Torrington, Burlington, and Harwinton all reporting similar incidents of out-of-state salesmen who are preying on people with a so-called fake fundraiser. Now, to our surprise tonight, we actually caught up with one of these sellers accidentally stumbling upon him, a man that matched that suspect description, right in Harwinton. Harwinton First Selectman Michael Chris took to his Facebook page to warn residents about some shady door-to-door book sales. He warned of high-pressure tactics, lies, and bogus receipts.
They're not associated with the schools at all, and they've been basically letting people know that if they buy product from them, that they would benefit the school system.
Chris says the same thing happened last year, so the town passed a strict peddling ordinance mandating a permit for door-to-door sales. But it seemingly didn't stop salesmen from coming back this summer.
The gentleman that came to sell in Harwinton that wanted to pull the permit refused the fingerprinting and refused the background check and walked out. Next thing we know, we got a report that he was up in the area selling without the permit.
Chris showed us a photo of the suspect and his Nebraska driver's license. 2 hours later, we coincidentally came across this man who fit the description, and once we approached him, admitted that he's selling in the area.
I am just marketing educational products to families. I let every family that I talk to know that I'm not with the schools and that it's nothing that they're required to get.
He introduced himself as Manuel Medina, an employee of Southwestern Advantage, a direct sales company. Basically, he solicits door-to-door. The big question, though, whether he's actually claiming that he represents Region 10 schools.
I've never claimed that. I honestly, every single family that I sit down with, or if anybody asks me, I blatantly will say, no, I'm not with the schools, and this is nothing that you're required to get.
But the First Selectman says families told him otherwise, so he's working with resident state troopers to keep the sellers out of the area.
They're not leaving the properties, they're staying there, and they're really harassing the residents of the town of Harwinton.
So as you saw there, that salesman we spoke with showed us his actual business card, which did read in fine print that he is not affiliated with schools or with school districts. In the studio, Bo Berman, Fox Connecticut.
New at 10, police in Virginia have arrested a man accused of stealing signs from Sandy Hook playgrounds in Connecticut and New Jersey. Stonington police contacted police in Herndon, Virginia earlier this week with a possible address of the suspect, 28-year-old Andrew Truelove. After arresting Truelove, officers found both stolen signs, which belonged to Grace McDonald's playground in Mystic and Chase Kowalski's playground in New Jersey. Truelove is charged with possession of stolen property. Meanwhile, in New York today, crews broke ground on a new playground in memory of Sandy Hook victim Madeline Shue. It's the 23rd playground built by the Sandy Ground Project. They're working on 26 living memorials to the victims. Madeline's playground is being built in West Islip, Long Island. There's a ribbon cutting Sunday at 11.
Well, showers and thunderstorms came through later on earlier this afternoon and into this evening. Some of them were packing quite a punch, but for the most part, we escaped any major severe weather, so that was some good news. Let's take a look at the radar because the last little shower is starting to move on out. It's the last one left in the state, and it's basically in the Woodmont section of Milford and parts of Bridgeport as well. So that will continue to slide on down to the south and east and not be bothering us. For us, we just have the mainly partly cloudy skies throughout the night tonight, with those temperatures dropping down to the 50s, right around the 50-degree mark. Now tomorrow, not bad overall. There's a chance for a sprinkle during the day, but most of the day is totally dry with partly cloudy skies. A little bit breezy, but not too many issues overall, with those temperatures getting up to around 70 degrees during the afternoon tomorrow. So things are fairly pleasant, and then as we go on through the next couple of days, we'll warm up to more summer-like levels, and you'll see that in the 70 forecast coming up in just a little bit. Back to you guys.
The battle over tree trimming continues, but tonight, a small victory for activists who say utilities go too far.
Yeah, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority proposed some new rules for utilities, and they give residents more power.
Fox Connecticut's Javon Vital has more from Wethersfield.
Tree trimming has always been a contentious point between homeowners and the utility companies in our state. But tonight, thanks to some new proposed guidelines, that debate will hopefully be put to rest.
It's a pretty street. Now it looks like a tornado came through and took everything down.
Ron Hall has been living in this Weathersfield neighborhood for decades, but over the past few weeks, he says the character has changed. Tree trimming crews came in, showing no mercy for limbs and branches posing potential threats to power lines.
7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, we're kind of woken up with chainsaws going, and looked outside, and a bunch of guys climbing up trees just started cutting. They just went a little too far. They could have trimmed a little more lightly.
The trimming efforts were in response to the storms we've had over the last few years, from hurricanes to snow and ice, which knocked out power for thousands. But Friday afternoon, a revised set of guidelines came down from the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, ruling utility crews will have to deliver advance notice to property owners before any work is done. If owners object, they can file an appeal. The ruling also applies to telecommunications companies like AT&T and Verizon. Neighbors here say they're pleased with the developments, but wish something had been done sooner.
I told my son to call her. The other lady across the street to me said, "Why, Joe, I don't like what he do. These people will do to you."
In a statement, Connecticut Light and Power says it's important to note that trees are the #1 cause of power outages. We have seen a significant reduction in tree-related outages in communities where our arborists have worked to ensure clearances are maintained. Now, these are only proposed guidelines, and PURA is seeking public input. The final decision will come down sometime in early June. Reporting in Weathersfield, Javon Vital, Fox, Connecticut.
Norwalk police have identified the man who drowned Memorial Day in Long Island Sound as 40-year-old Mauro Pinedo. Pinedo, a Norwalk resident, was canoeing with 3 friends near Calf Pasture Beach when the canoe tipped and they all fell into the water. The 3 other men were rescued, but Pinedo slipped under and never came up. Search teams eventually found his body later that night. Police say Pinedo was not wearing a life jacket and could not swim. The mom of 2 Vernon boys who sparked an Amber Alert earlier this month is out on bond tonight. Police say Jackie Morris took her 3 kids from Vernon to Maine on May 12th in violation of a custody agreement. They issued the Amber Alert because Morris had been living out of her car, and police say they feared the kids might be in danger. Cops tracked the 32-year-old and her children down in a Bangor hotel. They were unharmed. Morris was arraigned in Vernon today on several charges. She's due back in court June 24th.
A suspected serial armed robber is in jail tonight with bruises after police say his target fought back. 27-year-old Joey Frenari says he was opening his jewelry store at Enfield Square Mall Sunday morning when 42-year-old Jeffrey Hluchnik came in demanding gold and diamonds and showing a gun in his waistband. While Hluchnik was staring at the diamonds, Frenari says he hit him in the jaw and then beat him until police came. Although police don't advise fighting back against an armed robber, Frenari says he didn't want to become another victim.
We work hard for this. And in a moment, he wanted to take it away from us. And you know what? I wasn't gonna let him do it.
Police say Hluchnik only had a pellet gun in his waistband. They also say he admitted to committing 9 other armed robberies in Enfield, Suffield, and East Windsor.
More than 50 people have been arrested across Connecticut accused of collecting more than $2 million in bogus unemployment benefits. According to the New Haven Register, the Department of Labor campaign called Chasing Cheaters has already brought in more than $500,000. Many of the suspects used other people's Social Security numbers to game the system. They were tracked down by a special investigators unit created within the DOL about a year ago. The summer concert season kicks off this weekend at the Xfinity Theater in Hartford, and police are cracking down on underage drinking and tailgating. Tomorrow night, country band Rascal Flatts will perform at the venue. Last year, police arrested 29 people and gave out more than 100 tickets. Police are urging parents of underage teens to drop them off near the front gate of the theater instead of dropping them off in the parking lot where people tailgate.
There's been a 5th arrest in last year's Boston Marathon bombing. Today, 23-year-old Khairulazan Matanov appeared in federal court, charged with destroying evidence and making false statements to investigators. Prosecutors say Matanov didn't know anything about the bombings before they happened, but afterwards he tried to hide his connection to the Tsarnaev brothers. Prosecutors say he had dinner with the brothers before the bombings. If convicted, he faces up to 44 years in prison.
I regret that he has to resign under these circumstances.
Secretary Eric Shinseki resigns under the weight of the growing scandal at the Veterans Administration. What happens now, and who will fix the VA?
After 5 years, I think at some point they should have been able to fit me in for a 2-hour test.
Local vets sound off about the care they've received at a Connecticut VA hospital. And it's a sellout, how they're standing up to cancer at a New Britain Rockcats game tonight, next on the Fox Connecticut News at 10.
And on this day in history, the first ever Indianapolis 500 race. The day was marred by tragedy, though, when a Pope manufacturing car crashed halfway through the race, killing a mechanic and injuring several spectators. That was back on May 30th, 1911.
This Day in History on Fox Connecticut is brought to you by P.C. Richard & Son.
Next week is Small Business Week, and we kick it off with a closer look at a program designed to give veterans access to startup funds. Find out how it works and where you can go to get the process started. That's Monday on the Fox Connecticut Morning News. We start at 4 a.m.
Closed captioning on Fox Connecticut is brought to you by Connecticut Toyota Dealers.
Startling new details tonight on the growing scandal that forced Veterans Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki to resign. The final blow, an internal VA audit showing misconduct at hospitals across the country.
Now, President Obama says firings are underway and bonuses are being canceled. There may even be a criminal investigation. Jim Acosta takes us behind the scenes of today's stunning developments.
For President Obama, there was no time to wait.
Secretary Shinseki offered me his own resignation. With considerable regret, I accepted.
According to White House officials, the resignation of Veterans Affairs Secretary Eric Shinseki was over in 1 hour. First, Shinseki met in the Oval Office with the President, Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough, and the top White House aide now overseeing the VA, Rob Neighbors. Then the President and Shinseki went for a walk on the South Lawn for a private conversation. Minutes later, Mr. Obama said Shinseki had concluded he was too much of a distraction.
And so my assessment was, unfortunately, that he was right. I regret that he has to resign under these circumstances.
Shinseki's departure came as the VA released an audit of its health system that found facilities around the country were flagged for further review because of concerns about questionable scheduling practices. The VA secretary was more blunt in a morning speech, claiming his own officials have been lying to him.
I was too trusting of some, and I accepted as accurate reports that I now know to have been misleading with regard to patient wait times.
The president said the White House was also in the dark that VA officials were concealing wait times.
This issue of scheduling is one that the reporting systems inside of the VHA did not surface to the level where Rick was aware of it or we were able to see it.
Over at the Capitol, House Speaker John Boehner had his own rapid response that Shinseki's departure is not enough.
His resignation, though, does not absolve the president of his responsibility to step in and make things right for our veterans. Business as usual cannot continue.
Besides the internal probes of the scandal already underway, the chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee said the Justice Department is also involved.
Criminal acts, they should be punished. No ifs, buts, and maybes.
White House aides say expect other VA officials to go.
We'll be holding accountable specific individuals.
Of course, veterans around the nation are reacting to Shinseki's departure.
Fox Connecticut's Tony Jersey spoke with two local vets who have some serious issues with the care they've received for years at the West Haven VA.
Ron Coveney served in the Marine Corps from 1977 to 81 and relies on the West Haven VA for health care, reluctantly.
It's a teaching hospital, so you've got to go through 23 students to get to the doctor.
And he claims he's received improper diagnoses in the past because he never got to see a doctor.
Problems with my eyes and different things that they said, what is this? And I said, that's what your people told me.
The commander of Post 96 in West Hartford says compared to what allegedly transpired at the Phoenix VA, he's been fortunate with his care.
Like I was supposed to have one in May, and now it's delayed to June.
In order to determine if or when veterans qualify for care through the VA, they must complete a means test, according to Hungerford.
They got to do away with that. You're not going to get in unless you're under a certain salary level.
Hepatitis C has nearly killed Army veteran Ron Sutherland several times, and he says he's been waiting for a liver transplant for 16 years.
I was told in Hartford Hospital that they'd put me on the list.
But the VA won't.
The VA won't. But see, I'm on Social Security disability, and the only insurance I have is between Medicare and the VA.
Coveney's been waiting for nearly 5 years for a test to determine why he has such memory loss.
After 5 years, I think at some point they should have been able to fit me in for a 2-hour test.
This group of vets are putting together a very important event to them on July 3rd, where they're going to be marching from the old State House to the state capitol, and they hope it goes nationwide.
We're going to put together a YouTube video about problems not only here in the state, but federal level.
Tony Terzi, Fox, Connecticut.
42 VA medical facilities are under investigation for delaying care and falsifying patient appointment records, but West Haven is not among them.
Fox Connecticut requested an interview with Linda Schwartz, the Commissioner of Veterans Affairs in Connecticut, but she didn't respond.
The local lawmakers are also reacting to Shinseki's resignation. Here's what Senator Richard Blumenthal had to say about the move.
Today was necessary and maybe inevitable because we need to be looking forward rather than second-guessing what should have happened in the past. Secretary Shinseki became a distraction.
Well, Senator Blumenthal says the next step is to drastically reduce wait times for health care at VA hospitals by sending more veterans to private health care facilities and hiring more medical professionals.
One of Jay's favorite lines is, "I have no personnel announcements at this time." But I do, and it's bittersweet. It involves one of my closest friends here in Washington.
Today, President Obama announced the White House Press Secretary Jay Carney is stepping down. Carney told the president in April that he was thinking of moving on. He's been with the administration for 5.5 years, the first 2 with Vice President Joe Biden, the last 3.5 as press secretary.
It's been a privilege, and it continues to be a privilege, and every day in here with you has been a privilege.
Now, Carney plans to leave in mid-June. Deputy Press Secretary Josh Earnest will step into the role.
Embattled Clippers owner Donald Sterling isn't going away without a fight. His lawyer says Sterling filed a $1 billion lawsuit against the NBA today. Sterling's attorney is also disputing 2 independent physicians who have deemed Sterling mentally incapacitated, meaning his wife can make business decisions without his consent. Last night, Shelley Sterling accepted a $2 billion bid for the team from former Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer. Donald Sterling's attorney says the doctor's report is a vast overstatement and that his client won't give up his team so easily. Today, a judge granted Casey Kasem's daughter the right to visit her ailing father. Kasem's wife, Jean, had recently blocked his 3 children from seeing him. The 82-year-old radio personality has been suffering from dementia and was reported missing from a California nursing home earlier this month. Police tracked him down the next day. His wife, Jean, told authorities that appropriate medical care was not being provided. 2 California high school students allegedly set fire to their graduation stage, causing thousands of dollars in damage. The fire left a giant burn mark on Roseville High School's football field. School officials say this goes way beyond a senior prank, and some Roseville students say the suspects shouldn't get to walk in graduation. They face arson, vandalism, and conspiracy charges. One is in juvenile custody, the other's in county jail. They'll still receive their diplomas, and graduation will go on as planned.
We want to give people the opportunity to come out and pay their past due citations and save a little money.
The city of Hartford about to break out the boot for those with outstanding parking fines, but you have a chance to beat the boot if you pay up now. Detail.
He always tried to share the knowledge that he had with the younger guys coming up the ranks.
Mentor, confidant, brother, friends, family, and fellow firefighters say goodbye to New Britain's David Fiori.
When we got offered the chance to have a pink fire engine, we absolutely jumped on it.
You've heard of Fire Engine Red, but now the Newington Fire Department is making a statement with Fire Engine Pink. Why the department decided to go with such a bold new color.
Tonight's news is brought to you in full HD by Xfinity, powered by Comcast.
Always local. Fox Connecticut Morning News. Right team, right time.
Hartford is breaking out the boots.
The city's launching a new traffic initiative, and drivers with unpaid tickets are in for a big shock.
Now, Fox Connecticut's Mike Kravsick explains how it works.
Beginning on July 21st, people who have racked up more than 5 unpaid parking tickets in Hartford city streets could have their vehicles booted.
I mean, if I'm avoiding a towing fee, I'd rather boot than a tow. But overall, I don't want to get either.
The city's parking authority says the new program will hold violators more accountable for their citations. Parking Authority CEO Eric Boone says the crackdown is an effort to collect about $13 million in unpaid fines.
We decided to make it a way to still get what we need, but kind of prevent the towing as much as possible.
The Hartford Parking Authority is trying to create public awareness about the program. One way they're doing it is this car that's going to be popping up all over downtown. It has information for people so they know how to beat the boot. The Parking Authority hopes these mobile billboards for the next month and a half will spur violators into action. An amnesty period will begin in late June, running through mid-July, which includes a 20% discount to pay off all outstanding tickets and avoid the boot.
We don't want to have to boot. That's something that is an unfortunate part of our job. But we want to give people the opportunity to come out and pay their past due citations and save a little money.
Once the program goes into effect, boots will be placed on vehicles for up to 24 hours. And if fines aren't paid, the vehicle then could get towed. We spoke with people in the downtown area who say they understand the need for the booting policy.
Does that seem like a fair policy?
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you got 5 and you didn't pay for them, I don't see why not.
In Hartford, Mike Krafsick, Fox, Connecticut.
A final farewell for a local hero in New Britain. Hundreds gathered to say goodbye to Deputy Fire Chief David Fiori. Students at a local elementary school even lined up to show their support. Fiori died earlier this week after suffering a heart attack on the job. Friends say he was a confidant to many, and his experience and knowledge can never be replaced.
He always tried to share the knowledge that he had with the younger guys coming up the ranks. So it was important for, his legacy will live on because he wasn't taking the information and keeping it close to heart. He was taking the information that he had and he was passing it on.
Firefighters traveled from around the state to attend the funeral. Fiori served as a New Britain firefighter for 36 years.
New Britain stands up to cancer tonight. We take you there next. But first, Bobby.
Allison, the Sun tried to turn it around in the Windy City. The Sox and Rays are at it again at Fenway. What a night. The Rockettes were rocking at Yankee Stadium. That's right, some former Rockettes. High school conference tournament finals and, of course, Fox Follies. Dano.
Well, Bobby, the last of the rain is moving out, so conditions are improving as we head into this weekend. That's some good news, and those temperatures are going on up. We'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast coming up.
News doesn't stop when you're away from your TV. Get Fox Connecticut News live on your computer, smartphone, or tablet at foxct.com. Catch up on local news, weather, and traffic. Share a story to Facebook or Twitter, or start a discussion. Easy to find video of the biggest local stories, plus business, politics, sports, and lifestyle news whenever you want it. foxct.com. Fox Connecticut investigates. If you have a tip, email investigators at foxct.com.
The New Britain Rockettes game came to a screeching halt tonight, but not because of the rain, because of cancer.
Now, the team and the crowd had a special moment together, and Fox Connecticut's Lauren Victory was there to capture it. Lauren.
Yeah, Brett and Allison, the Minnesota Twins did the same Stand Up for Cancer demonstration at the beginning of the season. The Twins affiliate, the New Britain Rockettes, were the first minor league team to do it tonight.
It's been a few weeks since the New Britain Rockettes played at home on a weekend, and their fans went crazy over every pitch, strike, and hit. But the Friday night treat came with a bonus. Rockettes staff handed out signs to make minor league history.
Everyone has their own story with regards to how it affected them.
Rockettes spectators were asked to write down names of loved ones affected by cancer.
I'm standing up to cancer for my grandfather, who we lost 3 years ago in October. He died of liver cancer. We only found out a week before he passed away.
After the top of the fourth, a moment to remember cancer's victims. The crowd held up their memories. Each Rockette player and all of their opponents did too.
It's great, really exciting. We're really all going to stand up to cancer.
It was a demonstration of solidarity meant to raise awareness.
It needs a lot of attention, and we continue to look for the treatments to help with cancer.
The rain scared some of the sellout crowd away, exactly what the Rockcats hope to do to cancer.
It's a terrible disease that needs to, find a cure, and this is one way of supporting it and showing that we stand with them.
The Stand Up for Cancer organization gives 100% of donations to cancer research. The New Britain Rockcats hope to make a contribution by auctioning off Stand Up for Cancer shirts they practiced in. In New Britain, I'm Lauren Victory, Fox, Connecticut.
It's loud, large, and making some noise. The Newington Fire Department painted one of its pump trucks pink to raise breast cancer awareness. The move also benefits the Hospital of Central Connecticut's new cancer center in New Britain, which is under construction. Firefighters are selling pink T-shirts and have already raised over $5,000.
You know what? Everybody's been somehow affected in life by cancer, so this is our way of trying to help out and doing our own personal fight. When we got offered the chance to have a pink fire engine, we absolutely jumped on it.
Sponsors like Signs Now, Data Mail, and Turnpike Motors Auto Body all help to wrap the truck in pink. It'll stay this way through October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Well, even though the clouds did dominate today, we did have some sunshine, and it was enough to warm those temperatures up to 76 at Bradley Airport, which is just above that average high of 75. So it was basically an average day. And then once the rain did come through, we did have some showers and thunderstorms. That kind of cooled those temperatures off. So now we're down to the 50s for many of us right now. 52 at Groton, that's the cool spot. 57 in Windsor Locks, 58 in Hartford, and 60 in downtown New Haven. So we're going to continue to drop these temperatures down maybe another couple degrees, but it's not a particularly cold night by any means. There's the rain. It's now gone. So we're not going to be really worried about any rain throughout the rest of the night. Maybe a spotty sprinkle here or there, but most of the night is just going to be partly cloudy. Now, it's all because of a cold front that's continuing to push on down. But other than that, I think we're okay for tomorrow. Tomorrow's weather looks pretty good overall. And then the next couple of days, we're going to see high pressure building in our area. These are just some pop-up storms not to worry about. This system right here is going to go way up to our north. So the bottom line is the next couple days looking pretty good overall. I think this weekend we'll bring some nice weather and make a lot of people smile. So for tonight, we have just a partly cloudy sky, a few clouds here and there, no issues or anything like that. Now tomorrow, we may get a sprinkle, maybe a light shower here and there. They'll come in from the east, so some ocean air starts to fill on in. That's why those temperatures are going to stay fairly low tomorrow. We'll only be around 70 degrees. Now, if we had a westerly wind, temperatures would be up to around 80. So it's going to keep those temperatures down a little bit, but the bottom line is I think tomorrow is okay, especially during the afternoon. Here's 5 o'clock. It'll be very pleasant, 70 degrees with sunshine at 5 o'clock. Should be a nice Saturday afternoon. And then as you go on for Sunday, more nice weather fills in. So the high pressure, that big blue H, that's what we love. And look at that, a little southerly breeze here and there for Sunday and Monday. So nice beach weather overall. The beaches, it'll be around 75 degrees. And inland around 80, so we'll certainly take that. Tonight, a lingering shower, right around 50 degrees for our lows, a little bit of a north breeze. And then for tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds overall. So there will be times during the middle of the day, especially where you do see a decent amount of cloud cover. And as I mentioned, that slight shower chance, it's more like just a sprinkle here and there. Other than that, it's pleasant. Temperatures around 70 degrees with that sun coming up at 5:18 and the sun going down just near 8:30. So a long, long day. That's good news. Warmer and nice for Sunday. Monday, we're up around 80 with a ton of sun. I'm not telling you to call out on Monday, but it may be a good idea. And then for Tuesday and Wednesday, you see the chance for a few showers and thunderstorms with a lot of clouds around for the middle of the week. But the bottom line is we have some nice weather filling in for this weekend, especially on Sunday and into Monday.
Sounds okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Take it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, guys, before I came to work this morning, I visited Mrs. Kotler's 5th grade class at Webster Hill Elementary in West Hartford. It was all part of the Junior Achievement Program. I partnered with Bloom Shapiro Volunteers. That's Brian Berry there, who I was working with. And we talked to the kids about finance and business. Brian and I worked together for our 4th year in a row. This is an awesome program. We had a really good time with the kids. They came up with unbelievable ideas for businesses and products. They were innovative and truly a blast to be with. And this school is absolutely amazing. Webster Hill has its own butterfly garden, and their student population is so diverse that the children in their own homes speak 18 different languages. That's just all the different cultures and countries that are represented there. So really a unique and special place. It was a great day with them today. General Motors has been in the news issuing recall after recall for millions of cars, but the company's also been quietly racking up the profits. Coming up, how much GM has made since filing for bankruptcy 5 years ago.
It's been really reliable. It's been a good truck.
That's the understatement of the year. How many miles this seafood saleswoman has racked up on her Toyota pickup.
And Washington Redskins president Bruce Allen learns a lesson about the intricacies of social media, how a tweet intended to rally the Redskins faithful did just the opposite.
Always local. Fox Connecticut Morning News. Right team, right time.
Wake up, you gotta shine with the sun, and here it comes, it's time to make the best of what you've got to give. And if you ever need to see your smiling face, I know right where you can find one, each and every day. It's all about early, you better get ready. It's all about early, Fox Connecticut, I wanna be there.
Some new numbers show General Motors is one of the most profitable companies in the world. Just 5 years after the automaker filed for bankruptcy and got a government bailout, GM has earned a stunning $22.6 billion. It has repaid every dime it owed taxpayers. GM is now more profitable than a third of the companies in the Dow, including Verizon, American Express, and Boeing. But darker times may be ahead. The company has recalled a record number of vehicles this year and is now facing a federal investigation for failing to recall them sooner. The markets were mostly higher today, finishing off the month of May in positive territory. In spite of a surprise slowdown in consumer spending for April, the Dow added 18, the S&P gained 3.5 for another record close, this time 1923. The Nasdaq lost 5. Two more national fast food chains are joining the gun debate. Chili's and Sonic are banning guns from their restaurants. Both companies issued separate statements today asking customers not to bring weapons into the restaurants. The move follows a similar move from Chipotle recently.
Southwest Airlines has been fined $200,000 for false advertising. The carrier promoted $59 fares from Atlanta to New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. But according to the Department of Transportation, Southwest never actually made any seats available at that price. Southwest has said it was a, quote, copy mistake in the ad, which ran last fall. Google has released data on its workforce that shows shocking disparities in gender and race among its tech workers. As Tom Vaca reports, that's not surprising to college professors who are seeing the lack of diversity in high-tech classes on the front lines in college classrooms.
Ask UC Berkeley computer sciences professor Daniel Garcia. High tech remains a man's world, mostly white men and Asian men, a world he's trying to make more inclusive.
The course that I teach, Beauty and Joy of Computing, for the first time at UC Berkeley history, has broken 50% women.
We need to start in the elementary and high schools.
Bob Grill, College of Alameda computer sciences instructor, says the face of his introductory class reflects the real population.
I don't know what's going on when they transfer to the four-year schools, how they get encouraged to go on to masters and PhDs.
A year ago, CNN acquired statistics for high-tech giants Dell, Cisco, eBay, Intel, and Ingram Micro, and it shows males dominate. At the highest levels, officers and executives, 84% are male. Middle-level managers, 71%. Professionals, 67%. Technicians, 83%. Sales, 70%. Lower-level administrative and clerical, under half males. Most students face hurdles that folks attending the likes of Stanford and Cal, many of whom are white or Asian, don't face. One is so-called implicit bias.
And that is just the feeling that people often like to hire people who look like them and make them feel comfortable. Oh, that person would be fun to have around the office.
But the really big problem, a shrinking pipeline of highly qualified female and minority clients.
Fewer of them are getting master's degrees, and even fewer are getting PhDs. And so by the time you're looking at who are the top folks who might be looking at Google jobs, the top engineering jobs, it's such a small percentage of folks compared to the whole population, it really is hard to choose.
I'm not sure where the people come from that are going to do that.
A Toyota owner in Indiana has clocked 1 million miles on her truck. Nancy Richardson drives a 1995 Toyota T100 and says she hit the milestone logging nearly 800 miles a week for work.
Well, I sell seafood to restaurants, so I drive a lot. And, you know, it's been really reliable. It's been a good truck.
Yeah, I'd say so. Richardson claims the 20-year-old Toyota pickup, nicknamed Clyde, runs like a dream and is up to date on its inspections and oil changes.
It said right on there, CPR AED needed.
Thank goodness there's an app for that. How a volunteer firefighter's smartphone helped him save a man's life.
Sex change operations covered by Medicare, the new federal policy change that could make it happen.
One man's life saved with the help of a new app called Pulse Point.
When someone calls 911, the app searches the surrounding area to see if there's anyone with the app who can help.
Now, Fox News reporter Sophie Sung has the story.
It's a special moment caught on camera. A volunteer firefighter looking over the man whose life he saved and his trusty cell phone that made it all happen.
This is the incident page.
Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Scott Bronner was off duty on the day of May 9th. He was working out at the gym when he got an alert from his Pulse Point app on his cell phone.
What it did was it shut my music off, and then it gave me a series of loud tones.
The app then flashed a map showing him the location of a man nearby who needed help.
It said right on there, CPR AED needed.
Bronner followed the map and ran outside. In less than a minute, he found Drew Bassey slumped over inside his car. His heart had gone under cardiac arrest. Bronner started CPR until the ambulance arrived. That quick action saved Bassey's life.
I just can't believe that this thing worked. I just got done doing CPR from Pulse Point in the parking lot, and it was just, even now thinking about it, it's just amazing how fast that whole thing worked.
For the brain, minutes is so critically important for recovery from a cardiac arrest.
Dr. Mark Hart treated Bassey, who is now said to be in stable condition. In fact, he's expected to be discharged from the hospital soon.
There's very few things that the general public can do in their day-to-day lives where they can make such an impact on one of their fellow citizens.
This past Saturday, Bassey and Bronner got the chance to meet face to face. It's a moment neither man will soon forget, all made possible by what they're now calling the Miracle app.
It was really emotional. I met him a week ago, and I've been there twice. I met his family, his children and his grandchildren, and it's a pretty amazing connection.
Well, this month is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and there's a new treatment that zaps certain types of skin cancer without ever scarring the patient. The treatment is called SRT-100. The machine uses small doses of targeted radiation, and over a period of treatments, cancer cells are destroyed without hurting the healthy tissue around them. And that cuts out surgery and cuts down on scarring. According to study data, 94% of skin cancers are cured after these treatments.
A federal policy blocking Medicare from paying for sex change surgery has been lifted. A federal board reversed the policy today, recognizing the procedures as medically necessary treatments for individuals who don't identify with their biological sex. The ruling gives regional Medicare contractors the authority to determine whether to cover the surgeries on a case-by-case basis. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla Chan are giving a hefty donation to San Francisco area schools. The couple has pledged $120 million over the next 5 years to help improve education in the city's underserved communities. It will give educators the resources to be innovative in their classrooms and support disadvantaged students.
The Washington Redskins back in the news again for a social media stunt gone wrong. Yesterday, team president Bruce Allen fired back at Senator Harry Reid on Twitter, defending his team's name, claiming it's respectful to Native Americans. Allen encouraged people to tweet Reid what the team means to them, but they took aim at the Redskins instead, calling Allen's tweet racially insensitive. Coming up in sports, the Red Sox and Rays certainly have a heated rivalry, and the boys were at it again tonight at Fenway. Bob Rumbold is next with sports.
Sports on Fox Connecticut is brought to you by Mazda.
Oh, baby, the woes continued for the Connecticut Sun last night, losing at Indiana to fall to 1-4. Not time to dwell on things because tonight they're in Chicago to take on a good team, the Sky. Katie Douglas and Elena Deladon, ruh-roh, they bang heads. That had to hurt. Yeah, both of them ended up coming out of the game. They did return to action where Deladon was absolutely awesome in the game. Katie struggled a little bit. Alex Bentley, the hoop here, and the Sun would actually have the lead. It kind of went back and forth early on. Elena with the three-point play right there. She was on fire. Bentley, a great inbounds play, and that may have been the last lead we saw for the Connecticut Sun. The Sky would get it going off the scramble. Clements for 3 to Sundown 10 at the half. They would try to fight back. Off the miss, Shanae Gumake with the basket. Not enough. They end up losing. They only played 40 minutes and gave up 101 points. Oops. Get them next time. Well, it was unfamiliar territory for the Red Sox, losing 10 straight games. Maybe things are beginning to turn around as the Sox have won 4 straight for the first time this year. However, tonight the Rays, always a battle. David Price, it's David Ortiz. So, David's not happy. Well, wait a minute, they warned both benches, and John Farrell said, wait a minute, you're warning benches, my guys can't do anything to retaliate. So he gets tossed. Oh, a couple innings later, he hits Mike Karp. Karp says, what are you doing? He should have been thrown out. He wasn't. You got to be kidding me. So then, of course, Brandon Workman, the ball got away from him. Okay, so maybe it didn't. But he does get tossed. They let Price stay in the game. Finally, Xander Bogaerts will hit it off the wall. The Red Sox would tie it at 2. They have gone to the 10th, still tied at 2 apiece as Jackie Bradley would score. Yankees tonight taking on, that's Vidal Nuno going up against the Twins. Pick it up here, down 1-0. Ellsbury continuing to do his job. The base hit here will tie the game, but after that, now the old Twins had it going. Willingham, followed by former Rocket Trevor Plouffe with a 2-run home run, his 5th of the season. That would be a 4-1 lead. They would tack on a couple of more, and the Yanks would end up falling by a final count of 6-1. Metropolitans down in Philadelphia taking on those Phillies. This is a great play by one David Wright. Look at that. That would have scored a couple of runs, and because of that, it opened it up for former Phil Bobby Abreu, who hit that one down the right field line. That would drive in a couple of runs. They would go up 5-4. However, the Phils have tied it. It is in the 10th, tied at 5-5. Rockcats and bingo tonight. Well, the Rockcats won it by a final count of 4-0. We head to Dodge Stadium for some high school action as the Plainfield Panthers and the Waterford Lancers square off for the ECC conference title. Top of the first, Waterford's Griffin Archambault loops a single in the shallow center field. That'll bring in Seth Hoagland, and it'll be the Lancers 1, Ziporowski. Now, tied 2-2, bottom of the second, Jordan Federer with a hard hit grounder past the diving second baseman. It'll bring home Jeff Nicolosi to score right there. And the Panthers take a 3-2 lead, but it wouldn't last. Top of the third, Adam Goss with the contact, bounces it with the base hit here, and Waterford regains the 4-3 lead. We move to the 5th. Kevin Johnson, fly ball to left. Ryan Pambuku charges in and just misses the diving stab. A couple of Waterford runs score. Waterford will defeat Plainfield 7-3. They win your ECC championship. Congratulations to them. They got the game in before the rains came, and it would have washed it out if they played at the 7 o'clock start.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, Dano's joining us for, you know what?
Oh, yeah, Dan.
Fox Follies. All right, this is by request.
What is it?
And there you go. Yeah, we got to get Fitty in there because,
Look how pleased he is.
Because I just love the photographers. Now watch. The still guy never moves. The obviously the TV guy knew to stay with the ball. That's it. All right, coming up here.
This is like
we always get penguins for you. Yep. Oh, look at this.
You don't have any video on the golf course?
You sure you want to do that for a living? I don't know. All right, it's down the left field line. A lot of hustle here by Alex Gordon in insult to injury.
We've never seen that before.
Yeah, well, you know, again, he hit it, it fell, and he wasn't too happy after it was over. He said, get out of here. All right, here's some great basketball. Oh. Hey, just almost. Now,
he never really had it.
Yeah, and not once but twice trying to dunk.
Oh, stop. Just give up at that point, right?
That's usually a high percentage shot.
Yeah, it is. Not here. It's that. Boing. That's it. All right, here we go. Back to some great baseball. All right, watch this great play. He's got it.
Whoa.
He's okay. Where is it? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold it. Wait a minute.
Oh my God.
Okay. Will you
Does that
please?
count?
Yeah. Well, that's just the ball, and it's nothing. And it took him like a half an hour to. Literally, the guy would have had to run and tag him with his chest to get him out of second base, right?
Yes.
I'm amazed by this.
Thank you, Bob. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you were to